When you think of director Michael Mann, you think of the film Heat. It's got De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer. It's an absolute classic. It's the first time the two legends, De Niro and Pacino, appear on screen together. Obviously, they were in The Godfather 2 together, but they were never on screen together. It's a modern day classic. It's awesome. But is it Michael Mann's best film? But what if I told you it's actually not his best film? What if I told you his best film actually came out 14 years earlier and was the blueprint to his whole career, his visual style, everything we know and love about Michael Mann? I'm of course talking about the 1981 film Thief. This is Michael Mann's purest film. It's a raw, existential, and stylish character study. And on today's episode of Retro Rewind, we're going to take a look at this 1981 classic, and I'm going to make my case of why it's not only a great film, but it's actually the superior film in Michael Mann's catalog. So sit back, relax. This is Big Mike for RightOnQueue, and we're going to explore the 1981 film Thief. If you haven't seen the film, this will be a quick run through of the film. If you have, bear with me. We spend the first 10 minutes on the first heist of the film. There's no dialogue. We see Frank and his crew doing their thing. Frank's fence is killed, so he has to find someone new to sell his diamonds to. In walks Leo, who offers to front him and be the guy who fronts his cash and sets up the big scores for him. He meets a girl named Jessie, played by Tuesday Weld. They go to his diner, and there's this famous diner scene that's about 9 minutes, and there's a long scene there where Frank basically lays everything out of what he's looking for. So Leo gives him an offer he can't refuse. Come work with me. He helps him out, and at first he looks like he's a good person to work with. He helps Jessie and Frank get a baby they can't conceive, so that he helps them adopt one. He gets his mentor Okla, played by Willie Nelson, in a cameo role, out of prison, which was a big goal of Frank's as well. Everything seems to be going good. They get a big score in Los Angeles, and they go out there, they case the joint, they pull off the big score. Everything's great. They come back. He goes to Leo's house expecting a envelope of $800,000. He gets less than $100,000. And he's basically told by Leo that, like, let me handle your money. I'll invest it for you. You work for me now. I'll help you out. If you need money, come ask for it. You work for me. You're basically mine. Basically, he owns him. I don't want to spoil the rest, but some crazy violence occurs, crazy shootouts, and a climax that you have to see to believe. So let's talk about the opener first. It's nearly 10 minutes and there's no dialogue. It's just a man, his tools, and the job. This is James Caan in what I think is one of his best roles ever. Now, of course, he was in The Godfather as well, and many, many other classic films in the 70s and 80s. But there's something about his role in Thief that just really draws me in and really makes me appreciate him as an actor. So right away, Michael Mann draws us in with his obsession of process. We don't see a quick montage or quick cuts of this heist and process. We see everything. We see Frank, played by James Caan, with his drill, with his thermal lance. You see his partners listening in on the radio for the cops. You see the getaway driver waiting and listening in as well. It is long, it is meticulous. You see the sparks flying. It is an amazing opener. One that you normally don't see in film, where you see a lot of dialogue, you see quick cuts, because you want to hook the viewer in that first minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You just want to get them in and you want to go. But Michael Mann really shows you the process. He really shows you that this guy is a professional. We don't just hear that he's a professional, we see it. He's not just a thief, he is a master craftsman, an artist, if you will. Now, this is a ballsy move to make with an opener with no dialogue, but it really lets us understand this guy. He is a professional, he's meticulous, he's thought everything through, he is his own boss, he has his own crew, and that is who Frank is in this film. And it's all set up in the first 10 minutes with no dialogue, but where there's no dialogue, there is one of the best scores of any film ever made. So let's talk about the score. The score was made by Tangerine Dream, and it's not just music in the film. It makes the film. It is the pulsing, electronic, synthesizer heartbeat for this film. It is throughout the film. It is stark, it is big, it is loud, and it is amazing. This is one of my favorite scores of all time, and the reason I actually watched Thief in the first place was because I finished watching Sorcerer, which was a William Friedkin film from 1977. Tangerine Dream did the score for that as well, and I'm like, this is freaking amazing. What else have they done? And so Thief popped up. And so I checked it out, and I was again blown away by the awesome score. I like synthesizers, I like synth music, you know, I like John Carpenter, I like Vangelis, I like Tangerine Dream. And so that really drew me in, and the music just plays throughout. The look of and the sound of this film is bar none. You see the wet stone streets, you see the concrete jungle of the city, you see the neon lights, you see them driving through the city with this music playing, and then you see the city in the background. So one thing you have to understand is this is 1981. Now, this is not the kind of music that you would normally see in your crime films. You would see an orchestra, not propulsive German electronic music. It's not just background music, it's Frank's internal world, his anxiety, his nervousness, his drive. He has a great score, but it's just ambient noise, it's fog, it's just there to contribute to the film. Thief, it's a character. Sometimes you see a film where you have your characters, but then either the cityscape or the music or just the grime of the city can be its own character in a sense. And in this film, the music is its own character. It's showing you what's inside of Frank, what he's going through, the kind of drive and energizing energy he has, the charisma he has. Frank is a very charismatic person in this film, and you see it all. It defined the sound of 80s neo-noir, and if you've played Grand Theft Auto Vice City, if you love the film Drive, Tangerine Dream is a big influence on those musicians and those artists. Now let's talk about the look. Everything you associate with Michael Mann and his look, it started with this film. We have the dark neon lit streets of Chicago. We have the wet roads that they're driving on. Everything always looks wet, especially the roads. And it's like, I know it rains that much, but not that much. Like, what's going on here? There's an interview, I believe, where he talks about why everything is always wet. It's because the lights bounce off the water on the ground, and the aesthetic. He likes the aesthetic. And it's just amazing to see the city. You see it everywhere. There's a famous diner scene in this film, just like there is in Heat, where in Heat, De Niro and Pacino finally meet face to face. In this scene, you see Frank meeting Jesse, played by Tuesday Weld. This is on their date. They go to a diner and they're sitting there. Behind him is a big window. Now, in most films, what you'll see behind him is maybe some people walking by and a car or two drive by. In Thief, you see this whole landscape, this whole cityscape behind him. And you see the night sky. You see how far away it is. You see these two lonely people sitting there and how big this city is behind him and how they're just a number in this city. And in this scene, Frank basically lays out what he wants. He wants a wife, he wants a kid, he wants a house, he wants the American dream. And he basically lays it out for her right then and there, and more or less proposes to her on the first date. It's kind of insane to think about. And it's these kind of scenes that really make Thief a one-of-a-kind film. The aesthetic and the look of this film is insane. From the heist, where you see the sparks flying from the drill and the flame that he's using to the thermal lance he's using to open these safes. It is a visual delight. Okay, so we've talked about the look, we've talked about the sound, but why is Thief better than Heat? Well, Heat is an awesome movie, don't get me wrong, but it is a sprawling 3-hour ensemble that's full of shootouts, big scenes with individual characters. It's just this big thing. Whereas Thief is a 2-hour laser-focused character study on one character. It is a more intimate, more personal portrayal of a film. Everyone talks about that diner scene in Heat, but I would wager that the scene in Thief, the diner scene in Thief, is just as impactful, is just as good. It is a 9-minute monologue with James Caan laying out exactly what he's looking for. And it's this raw emotional take that you just don't see in Heat. It's a much more pure film in that regard because he's laying everything out, what he wants, why he's doing the things he's doing to get to the things he wants to do. In Heat, Neil McCauley says this is the only thing he knows how to do. This is his life. He couldn't be anything else. And so he's seen as this professional thief, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want anything else. It's hard to sympathize with a character like that. Whereas in Thief, it's a lot easier to sympathize with Frank because he is a professional thief and he is a master of his craft, but he's doing it for a specific reason because he wants a shortcut to the life he wants. He has a collage of what he wants. He wants his wife, he wants the kid, he wants the suburban house, he wants the car, he wants the American dream. He wants to be somebody. He doesn't just want to be a thief. He is using his skill set to become what he really wants to be. If you think about it, he really wants to become a normal person, like an idealized version of the American dream that he wants to be. And he feels because he spent the last decade in prison, he doesn't have time to go about it the normal way that everybody else does. He has to find that shortcut, so he uses his skills to get as much money as possible in as short a time as possible so he can achieve the American dream. It's a lot easier to sympathize with someone like that who's using his skills to get to a goal that we could all, I think, want, versus someone who just wants to go on to the next score and to the next score and to the next score. And now let's talk about the ending. Now, spoilers, of course. Neil McCauley's code and his drive leads him to his fate. He dies in the film. It's a definitive answer. He fails his task. He gets killed. He dies. That's the end of his story. In Thief, Frank loses everything. He loses his partner. He loses everything he's fought for. He sends his wife, his kid away from him with his money because that's the only way he can protect them. He burns down his house. He burns down his business. He burns his life down. and then he goes and seeks cold, brutal revenge. And at the end, he leaves alive and alone, and basically back to where he was at the beginning. Maybe even worse off, because now he has nothing. No business, no income, no friend, no wife, nothing. No collage, no nothing. So it's actually, even though he's alive, it's a darker, more bleak, nihilistic type of an ending where everything he's fought for is just gone. So there you have it. That's why I think Thief is a better film than Heat. Heat is a great epic crime thriller. It's a big film. It's sprawling, it has a big ensemble cast, it has crazy set pieces and scenes. But Thief is a much more raw, gritty, intimate portrayal of an individual character, someone we can follow and actually really empathize with, someone we want to kind of see succeed. I tell everybody this, that Thief is one of the coolest films I've ever seen because of James Caan's charisma in it, the music, the look of it, the rainy streets, the neon signs, the cityscape, just everything about it oozes charm and charisma. It is just one of the coolest freaking films I've ever seen. And I've listened to the score a dozen times. I've watched the film multiple times. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to do yourself a favor and check it out. I'm sure you've all seen Heat. Thief kind of flew under the radar. I saw Heat before I saw Thief. So even me, it flew under the radar. So if you haven't seen it, go to Amazon Prime now. It's available there for you to watch. Definitely check it out. How great is Thief? How great is Heat? They're both amazing films. Michael Mann has a great catalog of films. Heat, Thief, Last of the Mohicans, Collateral, many others. Comment below with what your favorite Michael Mann films are. I'm curious to see how everything ranks for everybody. Like always, if you've made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're growing slowly but surely, and I keep bringing you more content. I'm really excited to keep doing so. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Until then, stop scrolling, start watching.